in current day and age, it shames them for their sex drive. Every man has heard his wife say, "Is that all you think about? Is sex all you think about? Is that all I am to you?" And it's got the shame tone of, "Is that all you think about?" And most men have, because they feel the shame tone, like they're almost in trouble with their mother, like, no, 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 that's not. And they got defensive and they immediately fall into what I call the woman's frame or the societal frame of man. Sex drive is okay, but not too much. Well, who gets to decide how much is too much? And why does a man not just say, you know what? Come to think about it, it's not the only thing I think about it, but it's probably 95% of the shit I think about. And here's what that means. You know why I like being buff? Because I love women's attention. It fucking feels great when a woman comes up and grabs my arm like, damn, you better lift the weight. She's like, you're damn right I have. Is that thinking about sex? Well, in essence, yes. It is, to me, what we get wrong about sex is that it is that creative energy, that flow. Without sex, the whole world dies. Literally, no sex, no more humans, the whole thing's gone. And yet it's this one most vital thing that a man thinks a lot about, that urges and pulses through him and surges through him. It's so fucking strong that some men have went and taken that from a woman against her will because the urge is so strong, and yet nobody wants to talk about it. I think that's fucking disgusting that a man would do that. But I am just saying, what we've got wrong about it is it's not just this little thing that you just set aside and like, can't he figure that out? No, most men think about it so fucking much and they are so hurt around it that they don't know what to do. It's why we've come at it in a comical angle and called it dry dick syndrome, because most men feel like, I can't even get my wife to desire me anymore. And then they get shamed because of it. So that would be my long answer to a short question.
But I love it. And I think you had said it in the green room, even before we started. You've said like 9 out of 10 men kind of walk around with that. And we were joking about how, in terms of, rather than wishing for world peace, like maybe like we should focus on that. But I want to dive a little bit more into this idea of this sex drive. And I'd also love for you to take the counter side of this in terms of what do men get wrong about sex with women. So I want to talk about that. But before we do that, I want to talk a little bit more, though, is oftentimes I think so many men have heard is that when they actually have sex, it is just about getting off. Can you dive into like your research and like what you have found in terms of, as you built out like this married game and this idea? Because I think we got to deconstruct that portion of it, because I think that is like basically going, you get in the car to just go somewhere. Like it's a transaction.
Yeah, that's a really great analogy. So here's my one-liner on that one. Honeymoon sex is for minor leaguers, and soul sex gets better with time. Because most dudes, they want to feel that sexual release. But in the beginning, it's not so much sex that guys want. Yes, we want sex, but more than anything, I think we want to be wanted. We want to be desired. And that is the thing that really gets us as dudes. If a woman is showing enthusiasm towards us sexually, especially in the bedroom, but even outside, flirting and keeping that spark and that tension flowing, we love that shit almost more than anything. And when you can create that, the sex becomes this ultimate merging and oneness of these two souls. So it's not like, oh, can I just get my nut off? Hey, God gave us 2 hands and other people's mouths if we wanted to use them to get our nut off. We are wanting to be in that union with our wife, that one that we chose, that as a lot of guys at their bachelor party, this is the last pussy I'm ever having on planet Earth, right? And this is in the zeitgeist of dudes. And we go, oh shit. And then now when that pussy doesn't want him anymore, he starts to get really desperate and starts to do a lot of really weird shit because he doesn't understand he's going for her. And this is what my wife said. She goes, I feel like a walking vagina, Keith. Like all you want me for is just this. And so a lot of men, they go for the hole, and eventually the hole says, I'm not into it. Here's what we teach guys is go for the soul and you'll get the hole. Go for the soul and you'll get the hole. And that's the reason for that is because a woman wants to connect with you emotionally. The same way when you guys used to go on dates and you drive up to the house and you're listening to a great song and then you're listening to music and you're talking and then the windows start to fog up. That is what a woman is looking for in her man again, not just, hey, you dropping the kids off, when's dinner, why aren't my socks, why are they a little pink because you put it in with something red in the laundry? Like all this bullshit domestication stuff loses that primal thing. And so I don't think he's looking just for transaction. I think he's looking for like a soul connection and doesn't know how to do it, doesn't know how to get it.
Yeah. I've always likened sex to being like the Tesla charger. And because I think that all of us have had like the transactional, like you call a honeymoon, whether it's the one night type like things. But I think the thing that when I think about, especially as an entrepreneur, by the way, this goes for men and women. So I know we're talking about married game from like the perspective of man, but I got to tell you, if you are an entrepreneur, growth minded, and you're looking to like bring things as a magnetic into your life, I feel like the root cause of that is the Tesla charger in your marriage, and it's not in terms of, hey, do you have dinner together? Is that important together? Is it having dates? Yes, but I think it's the quality of what you're talking about, like going for the soul. It's not just a one way, because as a man is going for, I think the soul is they're actually being able to connect into that feminine energy, and it is like a Tesla charger. It makes you feel as if you can literally run through brick walls. I mean, is that what you're finding?
Oh, every man goes out to battle after he's eaten his favorite meal in the morning. Yeah. Yeah. This is, I joke around, tell my wife, I'm like, oh, that's my favorite meal of the day. And sometimes she'll just jump back and like, eat up, have some brekkie, big boy. You don't think I'm going to go out and become confident and aligned and certain, knowing that the woman I've been married to for 14 years, who left me 9 years ago because I was such a piece of shit, and now loves having sex with me, and we have like here's another big thing that guys aren't understanding, or a big lie in society, when they say porn isn't real. Let me tell you something. Women do act like that in the porn movies. You can get your wife to act like that, like you see in the movies. Like, you mean a girl that's enthusiastic about sex? You can get that. That's how your wife probably started, but you either stopped doing attractive things and started doing unattractive things, or both, like I did, and her attraction waned. When you talked about these types of principles cause people to be magnetically drawn to you, you made the perfect connection to entrepreneurism. Like, people want to go and be around people that make them feel better. But most wives feel so, I'm only good for one thing, and they get totally lost. I was an entrepreneur making plenty of money. We were moving into our dream house when my wife left me, and she just like, dude, you run your business, you talk about your business, come on and talk about your business, and you fucking fall asleep on the couch, bro. Like, that wasn't what that's what I wanted. And so when you talk about this desire and this loop, and what we found is, when a man can actually feel like his wife desires him, he will, like you said, run through a brick wall. He'll do anything. What a man doesn't understand is he's the one that's causing her not to desire him. That was the big breakthrough for me when my wife left me.
Yeah. I'd love if you're willing to share that story, because I think that if everyone is telling the truth, marriage is not linear. Marriage is like a series of Himalayan mountains where you get to some summits and peaks, and then you look down and you go, and you may not even realize like what the trip is, right? They say when you climb Mount Everest, like you're only halfway there. Like, you think you arrived? No. Like, you got to get back down, and it's in the back down is actually where the treachery and where like the real pitfall is, because you're exhausted, shit's hard, you've been going for a really long time. That sounds like oftentimes in terms of the in between the snapshots you see on Instagram, like that's real marriage. And so I would love if you kind of shared your story, because I think this is going to resonate for both men and women, because I think there's probably going to be women listening to this going, oh yeah, I've seen that piece of shit like type of attitude and activities and sort of mindset. Yep. This is bingo. So would you be willing to share?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. It's to me at this point, I just feel like my life is an example of the shit you don't want to do and the shit you do want to do after you stop doing the stuff you don't want to do. And and I love shows like this where you're bringing people on that have real example. Like for me, I would never listen to a fat trainer. To me, I'm not listening to a broke business coach. I don't. I want somebody who's actually got the real fruit in their life of what they say, and they actually give me the steps and the mindset to get that same fruit in my life. So ultimately, my story is this: I was married super young, as like 18 years old, was deep in this religion. After I kind of awoke out of that phase, I cheated on my first wife. For some reason, I had to get out of this situation. I'm like, I can't. I wasn't even attracted to the lady. Went on a binge for about 3 to 5 years of just banging as many hot girls as I could possibly find, especially if they were in magazines. That was that was my favorite. Then I met my wife. And I'm like, dude, I don't even want to get married, but if I was to date somebody, she would look a lot and act a lot like you. I mean, out of, hundreds of beautiful women, this one was like, this is the one. So I went down that route only to find, and we had a daughter. When my daughter was 2 years old, my wife was like, dude, we were moving into our dream home. And she's like, I'm going to help you unpack and move in, but I'm not staying. And that for me was the big wake up call that was like, dude, you know what? If the person closest to you is telling you that you are these things and she feels these things around you, if you can't hear this, you're the most deaf motherfucker on planet Earth. And I was, because she was trying to tell me for a year or two, I feel super neglected. We don't go on dates anymore. I married you. You were 185 pounds of tiger meat wrapped in barbed wire. Now you're 245 pounds of polar bear pudge. So it's like everything it was like the ultimate bait and switch, which is what most guys do. I was just that same thing. And she's like, I'm not doing this anymore. I was a horrible dad, meaning I maybe changed like 6 diapers in 2 years. And my wife's like, what the ever loving fuck, man? Like, do you care about your kid? Do you want to be involved in our lives in any way, shape, or form? So most women, before they exit, plan their exit about a year or two in advance. And especially if they're like a stay-at-home mom or financially tied to the guy that they're married to. And that was exactly the case in my situation. She's like, I don't know. And eventually she said, fuck it. I don't care if I have any safety. I don't care if I have anything. I would be safer on my own not being with this guy. And that was really what she said. My life would be better without you in it. And that was the big wake-up call. I understood short-term attraction. One night stands, easy. Ding, ding, ding. You can make that happen. Long-term attraction, though, where it grows over time, I had no concept that was even a reality or even what the fuck to do to get that to happen. So when she left, my biggest principle that hit me like a ton of bricks was, shit, I'm the problem. I'm the fucking problem here, because this now be my second divorce. I'm the fucking problem. And then the real light bulb went in when I realized, well, shit, if I'm the problem, it means I'm also the solution. That is what led me to actually getting out of this pit to come back in. And then the very next principle was, well, shit, then I need to become the most attractive version of me for me, not to get anything from anybody else, but this has to become my core standard, which then led me to the third realization, which was her response should never dictate my standard. And that's what happened. She married me at 185 pounds. I was lean. I was all the things that attracted her, but she wanted to feed me. She's a good Latina girl that wants to make, she's the type of lady to make you food and then stare at you while you eat it to make sure that you're umming and ahhing, because she just feels so much gratitude from that. And I became fat and happy until I just became fat and then not happy. And then nobody was happy. And so what happens, I realized, shit, if you drop your standards based on somebody else's response, that's not who you really are. And then therefore you can be tugged and pulled. And oh shit, no wonder she's not attracted to you. You're not actually the guy for real from the inside out.
What I love that you did is that you didn't pass blame as you took accountability to it. And I think there's the other aspect of this, in addition to like the men's sex drive that people understand. I think the thing that has been a disservice to men is this idea of vulnerability, of that actually admitting you're wrong is actually showing strength. And one of the things that I noticed when you were talking, Dan Sullivan, who's been a friend and a mentor of mine, one of the things he has said, well, number one, all progress starts by telling the truth, but that any idea, you need to go test your check writer. And in marriage, you have one check writer. You have one check writer. Yet, as men, I think that we have this idea. It's like, well, we have this vision. We're creating this company with this product, and we go along. And what I'm hearing you say is like, you're going along. You're like, I'm making a great freaking product. But you never ask your check writer. And eventually at the end of the day, it's going, well, I have this warehouse of, as you call, like around my waist. And I'm curious your thoughts on that in terms of that vulnerability aspect, and that the gift when we ask our check writer, i.e., like our partner, in terms of the product that we're creating in the world. What did you find either yourself or as you're writing your book about that sort of disservice of being vulnerable and being accountable?
Here is the real issue, in my opinion. What is being talked about to make a good marriage today is all total bullshit. And every guy has heard it. And so he's tried it. It hasn't worked. So therefore he goes and thinks, I must try it harder, but he's running the wrong fucking direction. And so what happens is a guy he'll try and do behavioral modification to become this guy that he's trying, because he loves this woman, but he's not feeling it back. And so he's starting to get insecure, but like, well, wait, why doesn't she like me anymore? So then he'll go on Google and look this shit up and be like, how do I get my wife to have sex with me? Or why doesn't my wife like me? Or how come my wife never initiates? Or what do I do if I get rejected? Like, all these things are the things that pop up for most guys. Would you agree? Yeah. So what happens is we are checking with the internet to find out what our check writer actually likes. And we're being told that the check writer likes something she doesn't actually like, but everybody tries it. The check writer says no. And they go, what the fuck? Everybody out here is saying what check writer's right. I've just found it's almost the exact fucking opposite of what everybody's telling you is the actual shit that makes your wife go, holy fuck, I want to be on your dick now.
Let's talk about that, Keith. What are the things that are being taught and told, whether like through history or through Instagram or through Google, and I'm curious how that relates to this idea of beta versus, I hate to use the word alpha male. And the only reason why I say that is because I think that can get attached to the fact of like masculine, or toxic, like alpha, like you're an asshole, you're a dick, versus I like to just in terms of like owning your masculinity. So like this idea of beta, which I think is like, hey, downplaying or giving away your masculinity versus like owning your masculinity and like eating lots of helpings of it. And so can you walk through that dichotomy? Because I agree with you. I think that a lot of men are probably going to resonate, but I think we need to articulate even deeper, because there's going to be people who are, number one, have maybe given that away. But there's also going to be there's probably a lot of women who are listening to us who are going, okay, well, what is that? Because I've been trying to maybe explain it. And I think a lot of people haven't been able to tangibly put into it. This is a bug spray. This is an attractant.
Yeah. Yeah. We call it pussy repellent. Yeah. I go, oh, fuck, you sprayed that pussy repellent on again, didn't you? And they're like, shit, what I do? And the term is, for me, it's not even alpha, beta, any of that. I'll give you a simpler frame that I think you'll really appreciate. And it's, you are either being a leader or you are being led. And so this is what I mean in terms of that. So happy wife, happy life. This is in the zeitgeist of our community, right? The worst phrase that's ruined more marriages than any fucking phrase, in my opinion, on planet Earth, other than wives submit to your husbands. Those two are the top, in my opinion. So let me explain. Happy wife, happy life means if you want a happy life, you're going to have a happy wife, which means you do whatever the fuck you can to make her happy. That is being led. A leader says, I have a standard with which I live my life, and for those to be around me also need to live at that standard to get access to my attention. If you don't want to live at that standard, no problem. It's a high standard. I get it. Not very many people would want to live at that standard, but I do. And the person that gets my attention, that gets my love, that gets to be with me, will also live at a high standard or not. That's me being a leader. And and everything's an invitation, never an obligation. My wife is not obligated to have sex with me. She's invited to have sex with me because I'm not saying I'll do whatever it takes to make my wife happy. Because you know what makes a real happy wife? Actually, having a husband who's a leader, who has a high standard and is calling her forward to her best self and has such a high standard that she can relax into her feminine and go, my man's got me. A woman wants to feel like she's like, I'm the luckiest son of a bitch on planet Earth to be with that guy. That has nothing to do with her being happy or not. It has everything to do, but here's what a happy wife, and I have 5 steps to making your wife the most happy woman on planet Earth, and it has nothing to do with all this. The other one is like, what happens, this is what guys, so they hear happy wife, happy life. This wives submit to your husbands, that's another one that a lot of guys use. They pull out of the Bible, like, my wife's supposed to submit to me. Okay, cool. Guess what? I've never not submitted to a leader that I realized could take me to the place I wanted to go. Never once. They go, hey, Keith, we're going to go here, and I have the fruit, and they show it to me. I go, I want to fucking go there. That sounds, yeah, I want to go there. I don't have to submit. If you're telling a woman, you're supposed to submit to me, that means you're only a leader in title. You're not a leader in real life. This is the mirror. So this is the thing that guys aren't seeing. If your wife is not initiating or enthusiastically participating, or she cares more about the spreadsheets than the bed sheets, guess what? That's her mirroring back to you. She's not attracted to you, because women aren't attracted to men that are led. They're attracted to men that lead. And now, what is the definition of leadership? Doesn't mean do what I say. It says follow my example. Follow my example. That is the biggest difference. So if a man can realize, if my wife is acting a certain way, nobody goes up to a tree with rotten fruit and goes, all right, inspect the fruit. Let's figure out how we can fix this fruit, and only looks at the fruit. Whereas a smart human being with a first grade education goes, hey, dummy, we got to look at the root. What's up with the fucking soil? Are we getting water? Is there any oxygen or whatever's going on around here? That is where I go, okay, now let's look at the actual, your wife is not submitting to you because you're not a leader. Can you swallow that pill? Yes. Okay, cool. Well then, and I just do 5 questions a guy can instantly ask himself to find out where he's at as in terms of like a letter grade as a husband. Dude, I just taught an elite group of men. Guys, all of these men make millions of dollars just literally Saturday. Every one of these dudes but one scored a C- or below on this test. And every one of them was like, I have never seen it that way. You, my friend, have opened my eyes. And that's the thing. Most men, the reason why 9 out of 10 guys aren't happy with the quality or quantity of sex inside their marriage, it's not because they're dumb. It's they are blind. It's a big difference. Dumb means you're a fucking retard, you can't talk, and you can't understand anything. That's not our guy. It's the blind, where he goes, oh, I didn't see that. Oh, shit, I guess you're right. So when it comes to actual attraction, a woman does not want to lead her man. And that is a very big thing. So I'll give you a real good example. If a guy feels like, shit, he's getting a little fat and his wife says something, he'll start to go to the gym. But if he goes too much and she goes, wow, you're going too much, and then he stops going because he wants to make her happy, she instantly realizes he is on her leash. That is not a leader. What are you hearing so far? Is this resonating? I can hit the 5 dials here whenever you're ready.
Yeah, I want to go into the 5 dials. Before we do that, it's super resonating with me. And I'm even thinking about like my own trajectory. I mean, like you are so spot on when you talk about happy wife, happy life. I mean, we say it in jest, but the reality of it is it's sort of like we go that. And then the other end of it, it's sort of, like submit. And I love your definition of leadership, because what it does is it brings it back down to accountability. Like you are accountable to yourself. It is unreasonable to expect and hold accountability to someone else that you actually don't hold to yourself. And I think that is super huge, because I think the difference is like, hey, I'm a leader, you must do what I say. That's toxic. Versus, hey, like I respect you, I love you, and by the way, like I'm doing this because this is for me. About 3 years ago, I started going down this health journey. And man, if I showed you before and after, like Jenna sent me this photo. Like I was at all means, other means, I was successful. You know, you look at like balance sheet, all those other things, and you go like, like this should be a magnet, in terms of, and I had the realization that two things that were happening with this is that like balance sheet rich, but actually the underlying foundational thing of all other engines was like we were running out of oil in the engine, and the engine was about to seize up. And there's two aspects. Number one was actually three. Number one was that when I looked at in terms of I having kids again later in life, realizing like my youngest will be 18 when I'm 63 right now, and you just go, okay, well, that is a different game I have to play than most other 63-year-olds. Like, I still want to be able to go out and hang with them. Like, hey, you want to go try surfing? Like at 63, like let's go. So that was one foundation. Second thing was if I really wanted to take my game to the next level, entrepreneurially, is that it is all powered by in terms of your ability to like stay in the arena, right? Stay in the arena is like it's a famous quote and poem. If you haven't listened to it, you got to go listen to it. But underlying all of those two things was that I realized is I had this ideal in my head of what I wanted my intimacy and connection life to be. And the number one thing when Jenna and I got together was that I wanted to have an epic love affair with her. And I realized 3 years ago was that I did not look like a snack. I looked like a fucking buffet. And so I joke in terms of people will be like, man, Ben, you have really toned up. And I say it in a snack just because it's sort of like most people don't want to talk about like sex and like all those other different things. But I say it's like, like I want to look like a snack to my wife. Like you think about Michelin starred restaurants, they don't just slop it on a plate. They put it, there's like what you can see their mastery of the craft. And I think about my mastery of who I am and who I want to be and become. Like that is the cooking technique of like the knife skills, the plating skills, like knowing how to cook your proteins and how to cook sauces. That is like what I'm hearing from you. And what's resonating with me is you need to become the chef with the ingredients and a menu that your wife would go, I don't care what it costs to eat at that restaurant. I fucking want to go there. And what's crazy is that in addition to that, it's actually accelerated my entrepreneurial growth. It has accelerated my ability to be present with kids. So it is incredibly like resonating, and it's refreshing because I think the thing that also goes in this conversation, I'm curious before we get into these dials, I feel like there are two battlegrounds, feminism and masculinity. Because I'm listening to you talk about this, and I'm just going, man, if you came from one of the schools that like, hey, women, independent, and I'm trying to think of like the other side of this, that when they hear you talk about this, and I love that you're just talking unapologetically and with like passion, that they go, well, geez, hey man, like I appreciate you saying that, but like we don't need anybody. Like we just need ourselves. I'm curious how you have kind of broached this in this world of where, not only have boys and men been taught this, but also you have girls and women who have been taught that like you need to be this independent, fierce, independent minded. And which, by the way, like that's nothing against it. I'm just trying to set the context here. I'm trying to think from like their aspect. How have you approached that sort of side to like help them understand that actually what you are talking about is freedom?
I haven't had a woman, and sometimes they're in the audience and I speak at some pretty big stages. I haven't had one woman come up and go, you're wrong. You know what they say? If I wanted a man, you're talking about the exact kind of man I'd want. A woman is built the way she's built, the same way a man is built, the way he's built. We as in our masculine energy, that feminine, the real feminine energy is like healing on our soul. We fucking love it. It's what we will go to. Every song, book, war has been written, started, and based over love, pretty much. So this is a very powerful thing that beats inside of us. So there's two ways I want to answer this. Number one, a strong woman will only actually fall for a really strong guy. So I don't ever feel like I need to convince a feminist anything. She goes, I don't need you. Okay, cool. There's a lot of people that don't need me. So I don't ever feel like the need to convert anybody to anything. That's probably why I'm so unapologetic about what I say. It's just, if somebody doesn't like it, that's cool. But guess what? The 550 entrepreneurial men that own their businesses, own their lives, but couldn't figure out their bedroom, that have trusted me with the actual game plan on how to get their wife coming back, they are so fucking happy they did this, and their wives are too. That's the thing that actually, in all of this, the women are like so grateful. They're like, you gave me my husband back. And so a lot of times what I'll tell guys is, if you want to get the X back or the sex back, you're gonna have to get your ball sack and your backbone back. And what that actually means is you do what the fuck you say you're gonna do when you say you're gonna do it, right? So I have women that'll tell me like, that it's not that every woman agrees with everything I'm saying. I'm not saying that. But what I am, because there are plenty of women that think I'm crazy and think I'm stupid and think all of those things. But what I'm telling you is, in the conversations that I've had with actual women, even if they go, oh, he's misogynist, I'm not misogynist. I'm saying a man should lead, and if a woman wants to follow him, and hey, guess what? If your world is that you want to lead as the woman and you want a man to follow you, go fucking do it. But why would I give a shit about that? Why would I care? Like, no, whatever some woman's going to do has no bearing on my life. So the energy is actually, hey, if you are happy as shit being a feminist, then be it. I'm happy as shit walking in my role as a leader. I don't need any woman. That's another thing. All these guys go, hey, this is my better half. What the fuck are you talking about? She might be cuter than you. That's true. I think men are kind of ugly, if I'm being honest. I don't know how the fuck they like us with all this hair and sweat and ball sack hair and all. That's an elephant trunk down there. Who the fuck wants to put their lips around that? But apparently women like it. I certainly fucking don't. But cool. I'm going to do my thing. I don't need you complete me. My wife doesn't complete me. That is the biggest horse shit on planet Earth. If a man says a woman complete me, that means that you are not walking in the fullness of who you are. And guess what? A weak woman might go, yeah, I complete him. A strong woman would be like, if you need me to completely, then you're not whole and healed on your own. And that's a big fucking problem. Are women awesome? Yes, they're fucking great. Like jujitsu, you can't roll alone, dude. You know what I mean? You need a partner to do it with. But it doesn't mean that I can't be fully satisfied, fully expressed in who I am as a man. And that, when a guy figures that out, that's when the woman, you'll be beating pussy off with a Louisville Slugger if you actually show up this way. That's how and guess what? I've interviewed more naked ladies than most fucking men. And I talked to them about this shit. I want to know about this. I'm a curious motherfucker. I want to know. So what I've discovered is that, hey, I'm not here to convert anybody to anything. But I am inviting people to say, if you don't like the fruit in your life, you might want to consider these things before you get rid of your wife. And so but guys come into my program, it's 90 days, the first 90 days. I go, yes, I care about your wife. Well, bro, there's a reason she's acting that way. So let's clean your side of the street, and let's not clean it so that people can go, wow, what a clean fucking street you have here. That's the trap. You're doing it to get something. That's called taker energy in our world. So a total giver, there's giving to get, there's giving without expectation, then there's giving without even understanding that should ever be an expectation, period. Like, that doesn't even exist. It's like, this is who I am. The crumbs of my abundance are the blessings to others. That should be a mentality and a frame that a man lives in. And that is so attractive for a woman. Dude, you know what I actually teach guys? At home, act as if you're a single dude and you're a single parent. You know why? Because anything like the modern day man is like, when's dinner? When's dinner, mama? Mommy, when's my laundry gonna be done? I'm short of socks, mommy. And we call it slipping into the mom matrix. And what happens is they just, hey, I'll do some dishes, and they're clanging around, hoping their mommy will say, good job for doing dishes, little Johnny. Or they take out the trash and they're kind of banging a little loud, coming back, hoping that their wife will be like, oh, he's a good little boy, he took out the trash. This is an actual energy with most men. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh, 100%. 100%.
So what feminist would want to fucking be with a dude? I'm on the feminist side in a way. It's like, yeah, men have become such fucking pussies. They can't even cook for themselves, clean for themselves. They act like it's a big deal to wash their own fucking dish. Are you a nutbag? What is your problem? So they see little Johnny trying to behavior and modify his way through, hoping that's going to create desire in his wife. That's bullshit, dude. That is such or buying her gifts. I call these all pseudo solutions, by the way. And I'm yelling because I'm fired up, dude. So
no, I love it. I love it. Bring it. Bring the fire.
They're fake. They're not real. Happy wife, happy life. Say yes more. What are you doing? If you don't like something, say, no, I don't like that. If you like something, say you like it. Most guys are editing and auditing who they are to try and get a little crumb of pussy because they've been rejected so much. Or when they do ask and they get rejected, they act like pouty little bitches, and they don't look and go, well, why does she always have a headache? And why does she say she loves me, but she's not in love with me? Look in the mirror. So when you do look in the mirror and you are real honest with yourself, that's the hard pill to swallow, is to be like, fuck, I'm convinced, bro, 95% of all marriage problems are the man. And when he can prove he's not the problem, 100% of his marriage problems are on him, because he's deciding to stay in a marriage that he knows is less than he is, than he can actually get himself by living at a high standard.
That's a super powerful statement. I think that in this day and age, this idea, it takes two to tango. What I'm hearing you say is, it takes two to like roll in jujitsu, but there is a massive amount of accountability of the man to just show the fuck up, is what I'm hearing you say.
And when he does, he doesn't feel like a pouty little bitch begging for love. Because he loves himself, man. Being healed from the inside out, that's what's caused you to be whole. And whole is attractive. Whole is attractive. Strength is attractive. Being a good parent is attractive. Being a great best friend to your wife, that's attractive. Being a great producer, that's attractive. Staying playful and fun and laugh and being able to take yourself not that serious and joke at yourself. You know what I mean? Like, my wife didn't like my beard at first. She goes, oh, I do not like your beard. I go, well, then you should definitely not grow one, because I think it would look horrible on you. and she knew instantly, like, I've grown mustaches before, and she's like, oh, I don't like them. I'm like, well, you get to choose to ride on this thing or not. Not me, but I fucking look amazing. And so it's this energy of, I'm doing this for me. And you know what? 6 weeks into this, after I had my beard out, I'm getting compliments 5 to 10 times a day, especially mostly from guys, but women are, they're nice enough about it too. And she goes like this, she goes, all right, I kind of like the beard. And now, literally just 3 days ago, she goes, you're never shaving that thing off, right? I saw a picture of you without that. She goes, well, you're keeping that, right? See, that's what I'm talking about, leadership. I didn't take myself. Somebody makes fun of my beard, whatever. Someone says, I used to be a pastor. This ex-pastor turned sex coach. Now they call me the pastor of pussy, right? So it's like this whole frame of, I'm going to go do me and live my authentic self. If you love it, that makes me happy. If you don't, well, then this might not be a good relationship for us. If you actually literally hate the best version of me, fuck, go find somebody else. And then that opens up the spot. But most men are afraid of divorce because they've been shamed by their church, their religion, by their society. They've said, this is a one and forever type of situation. But let me ask you a question. Ben, am I getting too fired up? Or are we okay?
No, you are on point. Because I think that people need to be. I think this is a message that people don't hear. I mean, what are they saying? It's like 51% of marriages end in divorce. And I have to imagine there's probably another 20, 30% of the ones who just are existing because the thought process and the effort to unwind it at the benefit of kids. I mean, I can think of a bunch of different examples right now in my head of people who well, I would call uh, they're basically in purgatory. And so I think that you need to get fired up. I saw a study that came out, and now it's like multiple times, and you hear it multiple times. It must be true. I mean, obviously, right? But they're talking about this next generation, like this youngest generation, like 18 to 24-year-olds are having the least amount of sex that we've ever had. Yet I think of this as an entrepreneurial thing going, well, that's kind of a problem on multiple different fronts, right? Number one, if we're not growing the population, I think what's the number? Like takes 2 births per woman for us to be a growing economy. You look at Europe and Japan, they're in the under 2. I think Japan is like 0.8. Don't fact check me on that, but I think like Europe is like 1.4 or something like that births per woman. So that's concerning to me on that aspect. But second is, it leads me to believe that there is a lack of leadership, and that's a problem.
Well, let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Who's your cell phone provider?
Verizon.
Okay, same. Verizon sends you a message tomorrow via email and says, listen, your cell phone services, everything's good. You can call whoever you want. And in fact, you can even email from here on out. But your texting privileges are going to be taken away. You respond back via email. Why? They go, well, depends on the day. Some days we have headaches. Some days we're not in the mood. Some days we're exhausted with the kids. But either way, you don't get to do texting anymore. How long would you stay with Verizon?
Probably not very long.
Not very long. So a lot of guys, because they're so afraid of divorce and church and society and culture, saying you're a bad person, whatever, a lot of guys will stay in these sexless marriages or in these less than happy sex marriages, with just, we call it vaginal masturbation. Your wife's just laying there kind of pity sex, right? Duty sex. And she's like, hurry up. The bachelor's almost on. Like, can we get this moving along? You know what I mean? Like that energy. And every guy fucking hates that. You know what I mean? Every guy hates pity sex. He'd rather almost not even have it, but he's just needs a real vagina on him. So he's like, okay, I'll do it. So it's like this energy of, yet they didn't realize that their wife has already broken the contract. When she says no more sex, or we're going to make this exceedingly difficult, it's the same as Verizon saying you don't get to do all these privileges and all the services. That's bullshit. And most men have not heard a man say that. And some guys would even hear this like, oh my God, he's making an analogy between a cell phone contract and a marriage contract. Either way, if you're such a weak man that you didn't want to upset Verizon by breaking the contract that they had already not fulfilled the way they said they would, then you need to go inside and find out why are you so afraid to stand up for yourself. And this is the thing that led me to this. I was like, I don't like the way this is. I want to have, just like you said, I want to have a passionate, lust-filled, desire-filled sex life with my wife. Or else why would I fucking stop? I could get any girl I wanted. I was having the time of my life. I was like, no, I want to build a real soul connection. I believe soul connection is the thing that we're all really craving. You can't soul connect with somebody if you're not having sex with them. And we literally using the term, we call it making love. I don't know if you want to just switch out the word making to creating, but you're actually making something when you make love. You're creating this bond between each other that's saying we're naked and open in front of each other. In fact, we like each other so much, let's just insert ourselves like puzzle pieces into each other. Oh my God, that feels amazing. Fuck yeah, doesn't it? Yeah, that's fucking cool. So this whole thing gets taken off, and it's like, well, you would never let anybody else treat you. That's the other thing. I don't know if you let your wife yell at you, but for me, if I don't let anybody yell at me, not that I'm going to hurt them, I just would remove myself from the situation. But guys will get yelled at by their wife, or they yell at their wife like little kids throwing tantrums. It's like, what the fuck are you doing? You would never do that with an employee. But yet, here in your marriage, you're not the leader. Guys do this too. I just asked a guy at the gym. I go, hey, what are you up to this weekend? I was going to invite him to something. He's like, I don't know. Check with the wife. I'm like, you sound like the biggest pussy ever. You have to go check with your boss to see if, like, well, you don't know there's 2 days a week that you have no control over the planning. That's an area of being a leader or being led. Your wife leads you on the weekend. No wonder she doesn't want to fucking suck your dick. Like, let's go. Like, these are the simple, basic little This concept I'm about to share you is one of the ones that hits our men. I never thought this would hit the way it did, but it really hits men. And I go, when do you make decisions, or do you sound like this? I don't know. Where do you want to go to eat? I don't know. Where do you want to go to eat? Where do you want to go to eat? Just say, hey, you wanting this food or this food? Do you want chicken or steak? Not what do you want to eat? What do you make? Hey, I'm going to have steak. What do you want? That simple thing I've had more messages and more responses going, fuck that. I've done that. I go, if you can't even make a simple decision on what you want to eat for you, hey, what do you want to eat? You want this or this? That simple decision-making process, most guys can't even make. It's like, well, no wonder. Oh, by the way, 87% of men aren't happy with the quality of sex in their marriage. 13% are. But only 2% of those, of that 13, are fucking stoked. So I'm like, I'm going to be the fucking stoked. My wife left me because she was so unattracted to me. But it wasn't just because I had gained a bunch of weight, because she actually, I've had a bunch of weight with her and she's been really attracted to me. It wasn't because of the weight, it was the energy, it was the personality, it was the spirit of who I was. Because attraction isn't just biceps and abs. Attraction simply means, are you leaning in or are you repelled? You're either attracted to something or repelled. When you and I got on the phone, we were laughing our ass off and having a good time. You were like, I'm attracted to this topic, this energy, leaning in, as opposed to, no, thank you. It's that binary. You're either attracted or you're not. And that's the thing, is what guys have a hard time grasping. Like, your wife is not attracted to you. I don't care if you have a 6-pack. Most people don't. But you don't have to have a 6-pack for your wife to be radically attracted to you. You need to have these 5 things we can go through right now if you want. And I can just show you, like, this is so deep, dude. Like, our society has been ripped the fuck off, man. By guys not even understanding this basic principles. They understand it in business.
Well, the thing that I love, and I want to be clear, like, when I hear you saying, like, hey, like, not checking with your wife, you're not saying, the fact is, if you don't know ahead of time, like, I think about it as a leader of, like, my companies. Like, I purposely set up our model week so that I knew exactly what was happening every single time. Like, in one of my companies, we are in, like, 3 days a week, we're in focus. You know, we got 2 days a week of, like, buffer. We have every 4 weeks we have like a no appointment week. Like, I know that is, like, true until, like, the cows come home, right? Like, I know exactly what it is. And so I want to be really clear. I'm not hearing you say is like, hey, you just do whatever the fuck you want.
No.
What I'm hearing you saying is, like, a leader would have actually already known what was happening, because he'd be in soul connection with his partner and talking about it and understanding these aspects in terms of, as a leader, how he could actually, you know, either maybe add his own uniqueness to making that, like, actually happen, and or being like, cool, hey, that's awesome, I love that. But being in communication, that's what I'm hearing you say. I want to clarify that before we get into the dials.
Yeah. And setting down with intention. My wife and I, every week for 30 minutes, we have a logistical meeting. Where do we all think we're supposed to be? Where do we want to be? Where are we going? Okay, I got Jovi a dance this Friday. Okay, I'll pick her up from gymnastics. We get all the logistical shit out of the way. But I'm really intentional. For me, I have to know the intention of every hour I'm alive. That's a gift. So I sit down every week and go, okay, what is my calendar? All right, I'm going to be here. We had Max Life with Ben at 8:00. Guess what? I'm only focused on that. That's my intention. Show up, serve, be as honest and raw and authentic as possible. If it lands with some guys, I hope they get help. If it doesn't, we're going to have a good fucking time anyway. Right after this, I got this. Every hour of my entire week is planned out. It's intentional. And I don't go into the weekend wondering what the hell we're doing. I know exactly what's going to happen. From 4 to 7, I'm going to be doing this. From 7 to 12, I've got time with my family. And I've planned this. I'm in control and charge because I'm the leader of my life. I'm not going to delegate my leadership to anybody else over my life. If my wife goes, oh my God, I want to go do this thing on Saturday, that sounds fucking rad. What is it? Oh, that's amazing. Let's go. But normally I'm the one that I don't have to plan everything. I check in. We're teammates. That's my partner. What do we want to do? I've really been wanting to do this. You know, those rage rooms, you know, you go in and just start smashing shit. So I overheard her say, I've been really wanting to do that. Well, I got an ad, booked it. Hey, I told my assistant Lexi, hey Lexi, book me a rage room, a Wednesday night's family date night. So Wednesday morning, we get, hey, guess where we're going tonight? Where? We're going to that range room. Da, da, da. We got a reservation this time. Oh my God, we've been wanting to go to that. That's leadership. That's where a woman can go, oh, my man's got me. If this sounds like too much work, then you're not built for being a leader. No problem. You just don't get leader pay and you don't get leader pussy. That's it. Everybody wants, I want all this fruit. Okay, cool. We're going to have to tend to this garden. No. All right, well, you're not going to get the fruit, but I want the fruit. And I'm going to throw a fit until I get the fruit. Well, get in there, gardener. Grab that hoe. Let's go.
I love that so much. And I don't think it's just going to be men. I think this is going to really resonate with women, because the outcomes on the end of this are, the fact is, just greater opportunity for everything. Like everything. Like, when Jen and I, after we get done having sex, we're never like, fuck, that was a waste of time. Like you never ever like, well, I shouldn't say it. Maybe there's some listeners that does happen. So again, if that's the case, probably want to buy this book. But so I think that there's just so much, I think like positive outcomes that come from taking ownership over your energy, whether it's masculine or feminine. Because, by the way, I mean, like, hey, 1 + 1 in this case, I think, equals like whatever number you want it to equal. That's the cool thing about what you're talking about. I want to get into these 5 dials, because I think that there's a lot of people who are going, what are these questions? I know you also talked to put them as questions. You got like 5 questions. Maybe they're 5 questions that are dials, but like, let's hop into it, because I'm really curious.
Cool. If you nail these 5 things, you will become what we call the provocateur, and that is a man who provokes his wife to lust after him. Attraction isn't just something that you put on like a little costume that you get to wear around every once in a while. It's no, she's genuinely like, I want to be around that man. The way I feel when I'm around my wife, the way I feel when I'm around Keith, I love being around him. I love being around him. I love him because he's fun. I love he's funny. Okay, there's stuff that she loves about who I am being. To me, we call that married game, because most men have no game inside their marriage. They don't even realize it is a game. That should be fun. Marriage should be fun. Dude, this is the person you get to fucking touch private parts with. That's fun shit. You know what I mean? So here's the 5 things that if you do this and you crank these dials up, I'm going to shape them in the form of a question, but it will tell you where you're at on your dial. So the very first dial we call is the parenting dial. How good of a parent actually are you? So what the question is, on a scale of 1 to 10, where do you think your wife would rate you as a dad? Scale of 1 to 10. So for me, my wife would have said he's 1. Yeah, she literally, I was so bad, she said, I don't even want to have another kid with you.
Oof.
And I had 3 kids before her, so she thought, oh, this motherfucker's going to be a great dad. Surprise, bait and switch, bitch, not happening. Nope, I'm going to let you change every diaper. I'm going to let you I'm going to let you put her to bed. I'm going to let you almost handle everything. And I'm going to go travel with my buddies. I'm going to go do my business. I'm going to go be cool while you stay at home. But aren't you glad you got a kid? Fuck yeah. What about this big house I got you? Pretty cool. Oh, you drive an Escalade? Oh, fuck yeah. Why aren't you thanking me? She goes, okay, well, you're a shitty fucking dad. And I don't know dude, this is a huge turn on, because they want to know that that man is leading and nurturing and stewarding this child. If you can't even do that, big turnoff. So scale of 1 to 10, man should ask himself, where is he at?
Yeah, I want to add to that. I've had a couple times with the Jenna. So I have a 17-and-a-half-year-old, and then decided to go then got divorced, and then that's where she's from, and then got married, and then had kids. And I got to tell you, changing diapers and doing things that, like, and the thing about it is, I notice it more after the fact. Is I'm not doing it for like, oh, hey, look at me, like that, as you had mentioned before, like making loud noises in the kitchen sink to be like, hey, daddy's doing dishes, right? Not that, but and I got to tell you, as you're just saying that, I'm just going reflecting, there's a look that comes in her eyes, and I just go, I don't know what that look is, but I want more of it. And you nailed it for me. That is lust, appreciation, gratitude, like that umami that like you can't, I mean, it's only something that's like created when you have those moments. So I appreciate like that articulation.
Thank you. I received that compliment. Now, you ready for the second dial?
Yeah, let's do it.
Partner dial, aka best friend dial. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how much does your wife still feel like you're her best friend? Most guys, they are only, it's so sad because they literally get in their own brain, because they've been taught this, that like they only really communicate with their wife and are butter her up when they're trying to get lucky. And first of all, that get lucky thing is like, what a horrible frame. You've literally reframed yourself. Like the only way sex is now something that goes to the lucky, or that if you hit the right sequence, oh, we luck. Okay, we got the prize, like the claw. Oh, we fucking did it. That is the worst, most unattractive energy on planet Earth. So this best friend dial is that I'm not just trying to talk with you for 15 minutes at the counter. So how was your day? Well, I'm looking at my phone. Yeah. Shit, maybe if I talk here long enough and listen long enough, maybe she'll take me upstairs. That's the other thing a lot of wives feel like. Guys are doing all this shit just to find, like, hey, like she puts her hands on his shoulders, like, are you ready? And she's like, fuck, I was just trying to be. So that's another thing is like, my wife would put her hand on my leg and I'd be like, hey, you want to head upstairs? She's like, fuck, every time I touch you, it makes you lead to sex, makes me not want to touch you. You've heard this, seen this, a better part of this, Ben?
Oh yeah.
I've done all this shit, by the way. I'm making fun of me and all of this. And if you guys are laughing along going, fuck, that's me too. Well, guess what? There's hope, because this isn't, dude, you would never be successful in business. You get money by offering value. You get pussy by offering leadership, which is value inside the home. Two things that men really care about: getting paid and getting laid. That's an honest man. Like, you know what? I like making money, and I like making my wife really fucking excited. So most happens though is, to me, this partner dial is one of the biggest dials. It's that soul connection. Remember I said you go for the soul, you'll get the whole. That's the thing, man. It's like, it's loving the whole of her, not just the hole in her. It's actually caring about, hey, so, tell me about your mom. What happened the other day? You said that happened. They just want to talk. I say, guys, we get blue balls. We want to release on our wife. Well, I think women get blue tongues, and they want to release on us. They want to give us facials, but just with their words. They want to talking things out. They want to talk through things. They want to know that you're interested. Remember, like I said, when you pulled up and then you were listening to the old song or music and the window started fogging up? She knew in that moment you loved being there for her because it was her, for her. That was where that soul connection comes in. That's why when you hit this partner dial, like, I just want to hang out with you because I like hanging out with you, not because I can just get something from you. Most men go, I don't want transactional sex. Well, dude, you're the one making it transactional. You're the one that's saying that you're the one that's always trying to transact it. So what I mean by that is, you're saying, I did this thing. Will you give me sex? You're the one creating the container. It doesn't have to be. So the best friend is, I actually care about this person because I care about who she is. I want to know more about her. And this is why I actually go to the gym with my wife twice a week to her group class, because it's something we get to do together. It's a shared experience. Presence, they want presence. Presence is a shared experience. You and I are really present in this moment. We're sharing this experience. If either of us are not present, we are not sharing the experience. And so my wife, the other day, we have a cat, and our cat diarrheaed on our new bed. And in the past, I would have been like, that's my wife's job, clean it up, yada, yada, yada. And don't bother me. I'll go make money and you fix that. This time I was like, oh, okay, this is fucking going to be interesting. And I laughed and made a joke about it and helped her do it. The next day, cat came, did the same thing, but under our bed. So it smelled like shit. It just wasn't, we couldn't see it. So I had to put the whole bed up, redo it so we could fix the thing. Third day comes in, happens again. And now my temptation is to be like, this fucking cat. My daughter's looking at me like, you're not going to kick the cat out of our house, right? Like, no, I laughed, I joked. I'm like, oh God, your cat smells like shit, man. You got to teach your cat how to not do this. Teach him to shit in your bed, not ours. We're just joking around with it, right? My wife's like, it was the biggest turn on. And she goes, I was afraid you were going to get pissed off. And like, why are you guys making me? You fix this. And she's like, dude, it was like it was like we had a slumber party with our best friend. We had something happen together, and you were so present. This is the key. You want the whole, go for the soul. The soul is what matters to you, what matters to me. Another thing on this one was I don't like watching TV at all. I would never watch TV if I wasn't married. I'd like literally would probably not even own one if I'm being honest with you, unless I want to watch UFC fights, right? But that's it. She loves TV. She loves it. So you know what? I said, cool, I'll watch a show. I'll watch a show with you. The same way I want her to roll around the sack and do fucking naked jujitsu and catch me in her guard and not let me out for at least 7 minutes. It's the same feeling for her. I'm guessing you know a little bit about jiu-jitsu.
Yes. Oh my God. I love it.
I just got my blue belt, by the way. So yeah.
Jiu-jitsu
is a big deal in my world. But
I love it. Congrats.
Yeah, thank you. So I watch a show with her. And guess what? I don't sit there and watch it and just have my phone. No, I'm present and I'm creating a shared experience. So now she loves it. Did you ever watch Hunting Wives?
No, I didn't. But I've seen clips of it on YouTube.
Well, you should watch it with your wife and lock the door and end up getting naked and fucking each other while you're watching. It's one of those steamiest shows on planet Earth. And you just are sitting there going, these people are doing some cool shit. And you're looking at each other like, we should do the same thing. It's like, fuck yeah, we should. So it's just energy. I don't do it to have sex with her, but sometimes it leads to that. But I do it because this is what she likes. And I want to have that shared connection with her. So now we have inside jokes. Now we have stuff to talk about that's meaningful to her. It's not always about me. It's about me saying, I'm interested in you, because I believe our attention is our wife's oxygen. The same way her respect is our oxygen. When your wife pats you on the back and goes, man, I'm so freaking glad, Ben, that I married you. You're such a stud. Thank you for all that you do. You're like, yeah, it's fucking right, baby. I'm doing it because it's my standard, but thank you for noticing. Yeah. So this best friend dial is so big, it's ridiculously big. And most guys, if they look at their calendar and realize they don't have time where they just hang out with their wife, just doing like cool, like best friend buddy stuff. Man, back in the day, dude, going to the store used to be fun. I think I got a cold. Let's go get some Robitussin together. And off you went. It was a date. Now it's, where's the Robitussin? I thought we had Robitussin around here. What the fuck, lady? You know what I mean? And it's just this big fucking tantrum. And it's like, oh, there he goes on his little tantrum again. Look at that little toddler. Way to go. All right. That's dial number 2. So I just say, hey, how good of a best friend would you? And here's the actual thing is, do your conversations sound like when your wife talks to her mom and her best friend or her sister? They open up 17 loops. I hardly ever close any of them because they can't wait to call the next day and see if we can get back into that conversation, right? So if you start to, if a guy goes, I don't care about that. I used to tell my wife, why would you bother me with that bullshit? Oh, so I'm bullshit. Okay, cool. Got it. So you're not actually interested in me. You just want to parade me on the arm and fuck me when you want to fuck me. Oh, yeah. I feel like a piece of shit now. So actually, I don't want to fuck you. That's how deep this dial goes. All right. So rate yourself scale 1 to 10. We go to that one, ready for the next dial? Or something you want to say about it?
I think that people, when they hear like you got to be your wife's best friend, I think there's like that. I think that's another axiom that has kind of fucked with the man-woman relationship, being like, you got friend zoned, right? You want to be in the friend zone. And what I'm hearing you say is, well, oh, by the way, all the things that are really popping up to me is you're not doing this so that you can have sex. You're doing this because this is what it actually means to be a man. And for you to step up, and oh, by the way, the natural outcome are these things.
You fix that root, you watch out because here comes that fruit.
Yeah, and I appreciate that, because I think so many people who are in the sex game, and I think that this probably comes from your like humanistic background of being like a pastor and dealing with like people's like emotions, but is that so often in the sex therapy game, it's about like the end out. Let's just have sex. Okay, here's the things you need to do to have sex. And I hear you saying that, like, hey, this is an outcome, but I actually hear it as being this is a how do you actually recapture your energy that allows your kids to blossom, it allows your partners to blossom, and I just I love this because when I think back in the beginning, Jenna and I in our relationship, the reason what really was like the glue was not actually the sex. It was actually the fact is that we would talk for, when I say hours, I mean like hours. And you can tell there's a direct correlation to like our connecting based off of like how much we are like getting lost in conversation, where phones away, we're not dealing with the stuff, like we're not getting distracted. It's like, hey, we're just gonna go and sometimes we'll just lay in bed and we'll talk for like 2 hours.
That's the good shit, bro. That's the good shit.
It is. And the reality of it is, it's that to your point, you're not doing it for the transaction. You're not giving so that you can receive. You're just doing it because you're like, man, I married a badass partner. And God, I love her brain, love her mind, love her like her intention and these visions and dreams that we're creating together. Like that's been to your point, that's best friend stuff.
Yeah. And then she goes, yeah, I know you love my brains. Thank you for, I say, fuck her brain first and she'll give you every other body part you want. And that's true. You know what I mean? Go for the brain. Like, dude, women, their libido is directly correlated to their thought process. It's why erotic novels are their porn. It's why women want to hear the story. It's why they love the juicy gossip. They want to lean in. And so the truth of the matter is, the more you're able to connect on an emotional level, the more she wants to give you her vagina. That's just period. It's the way it goes.
Yeah. And I think that so often men struggle. It's like the chicken or the egg. And it's like, well, what I'm hearing you say is 95% of the time in terms of marriage, it's like, it's your fucking problem. And 100% of the time, it is your problem, because if you're the other 5% that it's not your problem, well, it is your problem because you're continuing to stay in it. So I love that there are no excuses in this.
Yeah. Well, and most guys are going, what's the plan? What's the plan? We'll get to the plan. I need to address the man. Man, then plan. I have the plan. The step by step. So on this note, are you her best friend? Scale of 1 to 10. Third dial is producer dial. A woman that is in scarcity, wondering if they're going to eat or have a roof over their head, is not going to be thinking about her libido or thinking about how she might serve you and please you and make you the happiest man ever. She's just fucking scared. And her nervous system is like, I can't calm down. So a man has to understand that actually having resources is just evidence that you provide a lot of value to the world. Because if you didn't provide value to the world, nobody would give you money. So you need to be ambitious. And that's the only reason why she married you, because she thought you were ambitious. So I'm not saying, hey, you should go get ambitious. You already were, and you fell asleep. You were, and you fell asleep. And what happens when someone's asleep is they become blind. And so if a guy, dude, I know women, really hot models that are like, even if a guy's sleeping on a couch, but he has ambition, a dream, and a drive, and he's going after it, I'm super attracted to him. But a guy who's even if he's super rich, but he's no drive. See, my business was making really good money. It was not on total autopilot, but semi-autopilot. And we were moving into our dream home, and it was not a small home and not a bad home. It was very nice. And she was still radically unattracted to me because I had lost the ambition. And a lot of guys, and Jesse would even say this. She goes, you're neglecting us. You're always on the road. You're always working. And of course, I would say, like every guy, I'm doing this for you. And she goes, adorable, except you're never here spending time with us. So like, if you're doing this for us, I didn't want any of this shit. I wanted you. And that's where a lot of high performing men we're used to accumulating and showing the world that we are worthy, because we probably grew up feeling not worthy. I'm fucking jacked and buff because I grew up skinny and I didn't want to be fucking picked on. I'm rich because I hated fucking being broke. I got really good with women because I hated being rejected by women. So these superpowers are usually because of that early, wound or rejecting that we feel, and we step into it. So this is another one of those things where hey, my guy, if you're not ambitiously moving towards, I always just say it this way, nobody wants to be on a train to nowhere. All aboard, we're staying right here. No one was like, fucking yay. They're like, no, we want to be on a train. You got to be on a train going somewhere. That wife is seen going, here's this vision, a vision. You talked about these vision and dreams and things that you guys are building together. Like that's the stuff where she goes, we are building this thing together. And that layers another cord, another fiber in that cord where she goes, I want to make this the happiest husband alive. I know he loves blowjobs. Oh my God, I'm going to do that for him. Let's go. So what we understand here is that if you're producing and you're ambitious and moving forward, that is a drive for her, that there are going to be more resources for her kid, for her safety, to where she can actually relax into her feminine and be that sweet girl that just is playful again. So,
Well, the other thing is when you actually have visions and dreams and then you actually execute them. Because that's the other aspect of not just saying, hey, someday when this, and then you can actually look back and go, hey, I don't know if you notice the scoreboard, but I'm up 100-0.
yeah. Yeah. All they notice. And because it's an energy, because a guy who's up 100-0 has an energy. Game is energy. Everything about what we do is energy. Everything is energy. So it's either a taker. So I like to liken it like this. So I have them right on that. Let's go to the fourth dial because this analogy will be perfect. Fourth dial is the player dial. And, to quote the great American poet, Cyndi Lauper, she said, girls just want to have fun, right? But we forget that as men. And so what happens, I believe, is every guy is walking up with a trick-or-treat pillowcase. And if you only got a couple of Tootsie Rolls in there, the assumption is when I walk up with an empty pillowcase, I need you to put something in it. That's just the energy. That we all would go, okay, either like, sorry, little buddy, or you need something. But if I came up with an overflowing pillowcase and there's king-sized Snickers and king-sized Kit Kats all over, the assumption is take one. One's for you. That is how we show up. That's what I mean by everything is energy. If I show up and I'm full, this is why I'm always harping on the man. Learn to self-soothe. Learn to bring everything within. Don't lean on your wife and burden her down with all your bullshit if you can figure it out on your own. She does not want to be the thing that holds you up. That's not going to make her spread her legs or make her heart feel totally in love with you. It's be playful, have fun, but have an energy of I'm full. Take some of mine. I don't need you to fill me up. I'm full. It's the giver versus taker energy, because here's what happens. If guys trying to do the behavior modification thing, which is what everybody's teaching nowadays, and it's like, here's the 3 steps to getting your wife to slip off her leather couch because she's so wet for you. Yada, yada, yada. Guys like, I need the 3 steps. Like, you can't pull off the 3 steps because step number 1 is curl a 50-pound dumbbell. Oh, fuck, I can only curl a 15-pound dumbbell. Well, then let's go back and let's work on some muscles. I'm not saying it has nothing to do with muscles, okay? So it's the process is becoming this guy. So a lot of times you hear this, and I'm going to sound a little ranty here, but let's do it. Everyone's like, you need to go on a date with your wife. Okay, except she's not attracted to you. Let's flip the scenario around. Hello, Ben. I know you and Jenna are having a little hard times, and she said you could go on a date with a woman tonight. I've got just the person for you. She's got the best personality. Her hair is fucking epic. Did I mention she's 418 pounds? You're going to love her. You're like, hey, fucker. No. 418 pounds? That's a non-negotiable for me. I need somebody to at least fucking put down the soda pop, right? That's the same thing that guys are wanting to do. They're going like, I got to go take her out on a date. She doesn't like being there with you because she doesn't like you, who you are. Your wife would go on a date if fucking McDreamy called and said, you know what I mean? Jason Momoa said, hey, I've got the night free. Can I go on a date with you? She'd be like, I don't have a headache. I'll figure out how to go out with that guy. You see what I'm saying? So it's yes, date nights are important, but why are we going on date nights? Because you're a fun guy. Because that's what you do. And here, I always say this because I ask guys, I'm using the date night, but before I get in the date night thing, let me say a couple of things. Most guys smell like shit. They'll go to the gym. They won't even clean up before they go to work, or they'll go home, all smell like shit, wondering why their wife doesn't want to hug them because she's like, ooh, you smell like fucking body odor. their nails are long, their breath is fucking horrible, their clothes are baggy, they can't even fucking dress themselves. All these things are not what a player should be. I'm not talking about one night stands. I'm talking about becoming the catch of the county, truly becoming the catch of the county, because there's a lever that most men do not understand, and it's called, well, if you've seen the show The Bachelor, right? There's 20 women fighting over for one dude. They all want his rose. What does he have there? He has options. So his lever is options. So every girl is going to be on their best behavior because they want that rose. And if they're not, no problem, because I have options. Well, you lose that if you say yes in a monogamous relationship. You say, I do. You're going, hey, if we're going to be exclusive. Okay, cool. Got that. There's still a very similar lever that most men don't understand. Is called the perception of options lever. And the only way there's ever going to be a perception of options is you actually have to be something that other women desire. So when I blew up to 245 pounds, I still was quick-witted and funny and likable, but nobody wants to fuck a dude that's got man boobs. That's just not the way they want to roll. Now that I'm 199 pounds of actual tiger meat wrapped in barbed wire, and I have a high standard of course I go on a date night every week. Of course I have a logistics meeting with my partner every week. Of course I'm going to, standard. And she goes, oh, this is who this guy is. This is who this guy is. And so I always ask people this. Hey, listen, question for you. If you had that girl in high school that everybody loved, for me, it was Kristen Bennett. She was the head cheerleader, and I always wanted to hit that. I never got a chance, right? Imagine now you're single right now, and the head cheerleader shows up in your DMs and goes, wow, looks like life is really good to you. We should connect. We should connect up. And you're like, all right, it's a date. I'll see you at, I'll pick you up at such and such time. Would you come with low effort, gym shorts and go, hey, I don't know, I thought maybe we'd, catch a movie over here at Del Taco? No, you'd be showing up with your best. You'd be doing your push-ups out the door. You'd be making sure you're looking clean, fresh. You'd have an idea. You'd actually put some effort in the same way you did back when you were dating in the beginning, which is highly fuckable behavior. But because you've stopped doing that, you're not highly fuckable. And so therefore she's not crawling all over you going, wow, you're the man, because you're not. So I always say, if you were to take that girl from high school out, you would have a very different standard of how you show up. Return to that standard as who you are. And here's where there's a problem. I got to say this. A lot of guys are like, I asked my wife to go out on a date and she won't go. I go, cool. Do you still go anyway? Well, no. Okay, cool. Then she realizes you're just trying to talk her into thinking you're fun. You're not actually fun. You need to be going on dates by yourself then, because you like having a life. You're not a fun guy if you don't do fun things. You're not a fun guy if you only do fun things when other people are there to hold your hand and chaperone you through fun things. Do you see this energy, this beingness? That's what I'm talking about. So the perception of options is your wife knows, dude, if for some reason I wake up and bonk my head getting out of bed and I decide to leave this motherfucker, there's going to be 100 girls at his door going, how do I become the next Mrs. Yackey? If you know, that's what we call the catch of the county theory. We understand, I got to become the catch of the county. If you're not the catch of the county, you're not going to get catch of the county fruit. So these are frameworks. So I just ask yourself, a scale of 1 to 10, how playful, how fun, how much energy and good, lighthearted fun do you bring to your relationship? Most guys really suck at this one, dude. They let this shit go, thinking, let's get serious. We have a life to build. Well, if your life ain't no fun, then I don't want to fucking build that life. And I'm also a fan of Dan Sullivan. I've learned a lot of his stuff. I went through Genius Network, so a lot of his frameworks, I understand the terminology you're using. And that is like, dude, but I want to build a business I love forever, not the one I want to retire from and fucking, oh God, thank God I got rid of that. I want to live a full, fun life that's playful, that we do fun shit. I send memes, we joke, we laugh. My wife is probably the funniest human being I've ever met.
Yeah. I think that so often we get stuck in the trap of this idea of more. It's not the idea of more that's a trap. It's the idea of that at all costs of like more. And, I think if you're an entrepreneur, you have been in that trap of the more, because you can get and have and be and experience more without getting in the trap of, at the expense of health, relationship, emotional, like the as I'm listening to you, and you've used this now a couple times, because this is, as I coach entrepreneurs, the thing is that this is and always will be, and it has always been, an energy game. Start and stop. This is not a time game. This is not a money game. This is not a relationship game. This is not a purpose game. Those are really good like constructs, like for example, strategic coach we build around. But really what those are trying to do is help you actually capture and quantify energy. And what I love though is that there's an artisanal spring. And that's the part that you are talking about, the artisanal spring that fuels it all. Because at the end of the day, I believe that humans aren't meant to be alone. I think they're meant to be with a partner, and it's in that partnership is actually where the artisanal the artisanal well is. And so many people have like their well got stuck up with sand and shit in there, and it's like, yeah, we're kind of thirsty, right? Or in your case, the DDS. So I think we're at 4. What's the fifth dial?
Fifth dial, and this one I think is, they're all important, but this one is it's the power dial. Are you in your power? Meaning, do you do what you say you're going to do when you say you're going to do it without fault? And this is the biggest one, because most people go, a man is only as good as his work. Okay, cool. You told your wife you'd be home at 5, and you're always home between 5:07 and 5:17. You always have an excuse why you're never on time to anything. So is that what you mean by you actually keep your word, or does that mean that you actually don't fucking keep your word? Because most men don't fucking keep their word. Let me give you an example. We moved into a house. This was way back when, and my wife's like, "Hey, can you hang, these pictures here and put this couch here, little chair?" Yeah, no problem. A couple weeks goes by. She goes, "Hey, I don't want to nag. What can you do that?" Yeah. I'm on. Quit bothering me. I'll get it. 3 weeks goes by. She's like, "Dude, I'm really not trying to nag, but it's like 5 or 6 weeks ago I asked you to." Yeah. And she realized what happens is she can't trust me. My word isn't trustable. So what I've discovered is when the trust goes down, the lust goes down. When the trust goes down, the lust goes down. And it's because they can't lean on you anymore. And if you can't lean on somebody, that means they're not the leader. So therefore, she has to step up into that vacuum of leadership and take the leadership role, which then switches to the polarity, which is the opposite of attraction. And that's when a man starts to feel, fuck, this world, and he can feel she's actually not attracted to me. And so now he starts to get in this panic mode of, what do I got to do to fix this? Which makes it even look worse. That's a man that's disempowered. Here's what the actions are. It looks like he, when he asks for sex and gets rejected, he becomes a pouty little bitch. Or maybe he's been rejected so much, he just hates that feeling so much that he says, he stops asking. That's not a man in his power. A man in his power asks for what he wants, right? He invites people to enjoy the things that he likes. Another thing is he'll do his personal development, hoping for a good pat on the back. And if he doesn't get one, he acts a little butthurt. This is a man that's not in his power. This is a man that's doing things for others to see him. Another thing is he's asking for permission when he doesn't really need it. You know what I mean? A lot of guys are like, oh, let me go check in and see if I can go do that thing. It's like, I never asked my wife permission to go do anything, but I will check in with her on her calendar to see, did I already commit myself to something? Hey, did I already say something? I don't want to break my word, but I don't need permission from my wife, because that then puts me back in, I'm seeking her permission for things, which is, it fucks up the polarity. Another one that's really good that I think is guys are out at their shine. They're not really truthful about who they really are. And that is so unattractive. The most attractive thing for a woman is a man who's comfortable in his own skin with who he actually is. So a wife might say, hey, what about this? And he won't push back on it because he's like, no, dude, tomorrow I'm getting laid and I only get laid once a month. So I don't want to fuck that up. So he won't really be who he really is. Again, that's someone being led, not a leader. So it's this power dial of, are you actually being a leader of your own life? And if you are a leader of your own life, you're going to get the fruit of that. And other people are going to go, how did you do that? And the people around you are going to lean into it. So this power dynamic, this is a big deal for all the sex in a relationship. If you are the beggy, pouty, desperate guy, and you don't know how, and most men are feeling this, 9 out of 10 guys feel this from time to time. And they don't know what to do with it. So the only thing they can do is lash out and go, "You're hurting me by rejecting me," which has never made a woman go, "Oh, my bad. Come here. You're so sexy. Let me suck that dick." Never happened. But guys keep doing it. But every man still does it when not every man, but most men do that. So why? Well, that's because they've been out of alignment. They're out of power with who they are. That's a big fucking deal, man.
That is a big deal. And what's crazy about that, it seems so innocuous, the dial 5, but it is death by 1,000 cuts. I mean, that is death by like, oh, there's an example. There's an example. And it's like compounding, which is like the eighth wonder of the world. All of a sudden, it's like, as you get farther along, you didn't leave the honeymoon stage. Is that the honeymoon stage left you? And the fact, and that like connection, those like that fun, like all your 5 dials are all the things that like you kept. But I think I'm curious, Keith, when you do an audit of your entrepreneurs, of their calendars, my guess is there's probably about 1 to 5% of their calendar. I'm trying to be like conservative here. My guess is probably 0 to 1% of their calendar actually reflects any of these 5 dials.
Yeah. Well, before they, when they come in.
Yeah. Well, they come in. Yeah. Before they get like the Keith treatment.
Oh, bro, they've neglected. It's so bad. Yeah. Let's call it 1 to 5%. You're being conservative. That's like basically nothing. And they're wondering why their wife, who in this analogy is the plant, why is it so brown? And they're like, "Well, you're the water, dum-dum." And they're like, "She's brown and her leaves are brittle and they're no longer fun to look at." And It's like, yeah, it's a reflection of you. Once you're able to see that and understand that, and dude, this is the funniest thing. Most guys, they're leaders in their business. When they come home, they punch the clock and they abdicate their leadership. I was on a call with a guy yesterday. His wife is so in control of him. He needs this, and he's the perfect candidate for us to help him. And at the end, he goes, "All right, I'm going to have to think about it." I go, "Oh, you're going to go check in with your boss?" And he laughed. He goes, "Fuck, you're right." I go, "I just want you to know right now, you're feeling that you need," and this guy has dough, so it's not like, what I mean? I said, "You're feeling the need." I know you feel it. I know it's real in you. I just want you to know that's how far you've slidden off leadership mountain, is that you can't even pull the trigger on this small of an investment for you to become better, to become a better man that's actually going to fix this so that you don't end a divorce. I just want you to know that's this right here, you not even be able to do that, is the reason why your wife does not want to suck your penis. That right there. And because these guys think that it's this secret knowledge that Keith knows because he had sex with hundreds of women and now he knows. It's like, no, dude, it's simple. You are not a leader. Period. You can't even make a decision to become a better man without checking in with your mom. What the fuck are we talking about? I'm not trying to shame you. I'm just trying to say that, don't you think that would cause a problem in the polarity and the leadership? My wife has never asked me once if I've ever invested in anything or why I'm investing or whatever. She's like, "That dude's fucking money." Even if that guy doesn't have any money, he's fucking money. You know what I'm saying? So it's this energy that people are not getting. And it's for me to get, bro, you don't have to be a dick. Being a dick is not being an alpha, not being a leader. You're being a leader. Just say, "Hey, I've got my boundaries. I got my non-negotiables, and I have my windows of where I look into my leadership. If for some reason you're pushing back on me, I need to look into that why. Not look at you and shame you. I need to look at me and go, this is interesting. Let me look at this. The same way we do in business. Can you imagine saying, "No, run the same ads that aren't converting because these people need to figure it out"? No, you'd be like, I don't know. That's why you're broke. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So men who go through this, I think it's really important. There's this idea, and like especially in marketing, create a compelling offer, and I think a compelling offer, which is great, and I think that and that gets eyeballs, right? And I think it's similar to a convincing argument. It says, "I'm trying to bring you to me." But I think that there's another aspect of this that's like compelling outcomes and compelling connections, which is what I actually think your whole program, your book, what you're actually trying to do is actually create outcomes and like compelling outcomes and compelling connections. Because what that says is I'm willing to walk with you towards something bigger. And I would love to understand, I'd love our audience to understand, like, hey, like they came in being like, man, I don't want DDS anymore, right? Like that's great, right? And I think that every single man who's listening to this, and quite frankly, there's probably a lot of women being like, if it's dry dick syndrome, it's dry vagina syndrome as well here, right? Like, so DVS and right. I mean, DDS has a close cousin in DVS, and but I think it'd be really great to understand like what they came in, what they thought, but what did they actually leave with outside of the fact of like that there's no DDS and DVS has been solved. Can you talk a little bit about these outcomes of who these men have stopped becoming and who are being and becoming?
Yeah. We have a clip somewhere where it's the wives saying, "Where was Keith all these years ago?" You know what I mean? That type of thing. And so the outcome is a woman that goes, who's actually attracted. A man is going to feel that his wife is actually attracted to him, and there will be evidence and signs of that. Okay. But I always say, like I told you before, if you want the X back or the sex back, you have to get your ball sack and your backbone back. A man walking around with his actual backbone that feels confident in who he is, that knows that no matter if everybody leaves him, he's still going to have the greatest life. He's not going to be fighting for second. That he understands that he gets this opportunity to be a leader, but he's going to have to lead himself. I'm on the top of Pussy Mountain. That's what all my clients said. Like, you're way up there, but I still feel the same thing on the mountain that you do, and that's gravity. That's the same thing. Whether I'm up here or down here, I'm still going through that. I'm still working through my rejection issues. I'm still working through my abandonment issues. I'm still working through all the same stuff. I feel all the same things the guys do, but I want them to know that there's hope, that you will feel differently on the inside once you master and you start to live at this standard. So here's what this probably maybe 2 months ago, I'm like, you know what? It's my job to create the romance in my relationship because I'm the leader of this. So I told my wife, hey, Jovi, our daughter's going to spend the night at someone else's houses. I've got the plans for tonight. We're going to take you out to a dinner, our favorite dinner. I'm going to come back and I got some romance planned upstairs on the hot tub on the rooftop. She goes, okay, cool. So what happens? Well, I get rose petals. I get I get some tea candle lights all over the upstairs rooftop around the thing. I put the petals all up and down the thing, and it's gonna be a full moon. So I orchestrate everything to make sure it's gonna be epic. We go out for dinner. We come back. I go, hey, go get your bathing suit on, and then meet me right here, and we'll walk up together. She goes, okay. So we go up. I have all the lights off except for the candles that are lit. But we also have some really cool psychedelic lights up there that we can get fun and freaky with. So as we're going up, she's walking through the path of petals, and she goes, oh, let me go turn those lights on. And I go, I've got all the lights on that I want on. She goes, oh, okay. We let her into the thing, had the time of our life. It was more sexy than any fucking porn these guys are beating off to, right? It was everything that every guy always wants. Here is what I want him to understand about this. Number one, and I told her this, I said, we're going to have a really fun night up there. I'd love for you to join, is basically the energy. Because if not, I'm going to go make love to myself up there with all these fucking rose petals and tea lights and moonlight service. You know what I mean? And the energy is this. The sex was amazing. The sex the next day, talking about the sex the last night was amazing. Yes. But you know what was more amazing? Truly, as a feeling that I'm the fucking dude that has this standard, that does this shit. That feels better than even the porn star sex I experienced that night. It feels even better. So I want a guy to know that there's a hope of you feeling inside truly like I'm the fucking man. But there's certain things you have to do to feel that. And when you feel that as a standard, it's better than everything else. So I hope they walk away with, you might be deep in the pit. There's hope. I've been there. And the reason I use the language I use, it does offend some people. That's fine. The guy who's in the pit hears this voice and goes, holy fuck, how is he saying everything that's been in my head, but I've been too afraid to say, admit, or even wonder if I'm normal for thinking these things. That's why I talk this way. And that's what I want a man to hear.
I love it. I got one last question before we close here. What are the tips and tricks? Someone gets your book. they sign up for like your comic book, what are the tips and tricks to not go and do to fuck it up when they get your book?
Well, they can read my book, marriedgamebook.com, or they can go to my actual website, marriedgame.com, and they have some videos, and they can actually jump on the phone with me or my my right-hand guy, Parker, and we can walk them through what's going on to help them see their own specific situation. But if they read the book, they're going to see that these dials are in there, examples of how to now start to walk in these dials to start to get their own confidence back to where they can stop feeling needy, stop feeling desperate, stop feeling these things. Because we're all after a feeling, right?
Yeah.
So that's just literally do it. And like anything, all transformation feels like you're going through a little bit of fire, sometimes a lot of fire, and just lean into it. Everything that you've thought about relationships has landed you right where you're at. So if your thinking doesn't change, the situation won't. I hope this conversation, and I am so grateful for us on how long we took. And we spent so much time really being able to develop these things. And I really appreciate you creating a platform for these things to kind of let them breathe. That guy's going to feel a little awkward at first trying some of these things because he's given away his power so much.
Come on. Keith, it's been an absolute pleasure. Again, people want to follow you on socials. They want to get your book. They want to like sign up for the comic book stuff. Like, where can they find you?
So at Keith Yackey on Instagram is a great spot. Going to marriedgame.com and following all the way through there is a great spot. Marriedgamebook.com, you can get this book. And then you can go to Man Cave Comic Book, where is these one principle, one lesson at a time, where they can go to mancavecomicbook.com and teach them. This one specifically is how to get out of the mom matrix, This
has been an epic conversation. My hope when you and I were talking beforehand, I said, I want to laugh a lot. And I'm so grateful how you have just made this unapologetically fun again. I think unapologetically accountability, that there's no one else to blame except for yourself. As you've listened to my other podcasts, you know that I like to leave with our guests with the last ripple, the last thought, the last call to action, the last question. So what do you want to leave our audience with?
I want to ask them to dare big enough to actually go in their brain and go, what do I really desire? And to not be afraid to go after. For me, I wanted to be desired, but I wasn't desirable. So I had to go become desirable, not based on what everybody else thinks, but what I know actually caused attraction. And everything I learned from everybody else was actually wrong. Everything was counterintuitive. And so that takes a real open mind and real brain go, wait, if I don't have the fruit, I should probably consider a different way of looking at the root.
Come on. Keith, what an amazing podcast. I'm really excited for our audience to hear this one. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening. A big thanks to Elation Lab for the production and creative design. Remember to like, subscribe, and follow us on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. Keep listening for more Max Life.